Hello, my name is Father Martin Day. I'm the pastor of St. Ben's, and I'd like to welcome you to this viewing of the DVD that we've created for St. Ben's Parish to bolster the pride and commitment of our parishioners, but also to introduce us to the larger civic community. I hope you enjoy it.
As far back as the late 1700s, Catholics had been in the Terre Haute area. Some came from Kentucky to settle near a place called Thrall Station, which later became St. Mary of the Woods Village. Another settlement was in Edgar County, Illinois, at a place called North Arm. Missionaries from Vincennes served these settlements and also worked among the Indians in the area. When Terre Haute was founded in 1816, it became a base from which these missionaries could work. When the Diocese of Vincennes was created in 1834, its first bishop, Simon Brute, visited Terre Haute and offered Mass at the home of George Ewing Farrington. During this visit, Bishop Brute decided that a church should be built here to serve the area Catholics. This church, built in the late 1837, was St. Joseph. But Terre Haute was growing, industries grew, and land was donated by Chauncey Rose to increase the town size. In the waning days of the Civil War, many Germans emigrated to the United States. The rising numbers of German-speaking Catholics could not be accommodated by St. Joseph Parish. In January of 1864, a group of men, with the assistance of St. Joseph Associate Pastor Father Martin Marty, discussed the feasibility of forming a new parish. On February 17, 1864, a decision was made to purchase the land between Ohio and Walnut Streets on South 9th Street. This would be the site of the new parish. A committee was formed to raise funds for a church, a school, and a priest's residence. The men on the committee not only gave their own resources, but also solicited help from relatives in the Old Country, Germany. On October 21, 1864, work began on the church, which faced Ohio Street, with the laying of the cornerstone. Early in 1865, the church was blessed and dedicated to St. Benedict. The first priests in residence were the Benedictines, chosen because of their familiarity with the German language. In December of 1865, Father Caspar Dauphinner became the first pastor of St. Benedict Church. He was followed in 1867 by Father Edward Faller, and then Father Nicholas Galeweiler, who served from 1871 to 1873. But overwork and sickness decimated the diocesan priest, so in 1872, Bishop de Saint-Palais asked the Franciscans to take over both St. Benedict and St. Joseph parishes. Officially, the Franciscans were decreed the care of the two parishes on May 2, 1872, and have served so ever since. 31 years after the building of the first church and under the pastorate of Father Peter Charun, the first steps were taken toward the building of a new and much larger church. This was to be a magnificent edifice which would be the pride of the city. On May 6, 1896, the old church was torn down and hauled away. Ground was broken on July 1st, and the cornerstone was laid on October 4th, the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. Work continued until March 12, 1898, when the contractor handed over the keys to the pastor. With the outside completed, work on the interior began. As he had for the exterior of the church, Mr. Herman Holman gave generously of his time and money to fund the interior decorating and furnishing. The interior design of the church was very extravagant and ornate. It included paintings from Russian nobleman Thaddeus Zukatinsky and 3 large rose windows which adorned the north, south, and west sides of the church. These and other windows were designed and constructed by Victor van der Horst of Munster, Germany. In the south alcove to the right of the entrance was a Pietà, an exact replica of the one by Michelangelo at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. It was sculpted from A. Schielmann of Germany. It was deemed by many to be the greatest work of art in the church. A great bronze statue of St. Michael the Archangel and protector of the church stood atop the immense dome. It was a gift from Mr. Herman Holman. Another statue, that of St. Benedict, graced a niche above the center door. The three bells, at a total of $700, were cast in Troy, New York. They were named St. Francis, the largest, weighing in at 3,559 pounds, and tolled in the key of D. St. Benedict, at 1,822 pounds, rang out in the key of F sharp, and the Blessed Virgin, at 1,027 pounds, sounded in the key of A. The total cost of the church, interior and exterior, totaled nearly $150,000. With inflation today, these dollars would be worth over $3 million. On Sunday, June 18, 1899, St. Benedict Church was blessed and dedicated. Nearly 2,000 people, twice the capacity, packed the church for the ceremony, which lasted nearly 3 hours. Begun in early 1900 and completed in December of that year was the rectory, built on the south side of the church at a cost of $9,500. It was later named the Colby Friary after Maximilian Kolbe, a Franciscan priest who was imprisoned at Auschwitz during World War II. He volunteered to die in the place of a fellow prisoner. He was canonized in 1982 and is the patron saint of drug addicts. In 1915, the Finkbeiner Mansion at the southwest corner of 9th and Ohio Streets was purchased and remodeled to house the Sisters of Providence. It remained so until the school was closed in 1970. It is currently used for the parish offices. St. Benedict continued to grow and flourish over the next few decades. Then at noon on Wednesday, July 30th, 1930, work was being done in the Great Dome and workmen had left for lunch. Someone noticed smoke rolling out of the Great Dome. Fire! Disaster had struck. The first alarm sounded at 1:56 and the second just minutes later. Smoke poured from the Great Dome where the painters had been working. 8 hose companies and 4 other trucks were called to the scene, along with off-duty firemen. Fire equipment with streams of water falling far short of their mark could not reach the dome where the fire was centered. As the great bronze statue of St. Michael the Archangel crashed through the blazing roof to the basement below, the magnificent church was reduced to a smoldering heap. The fire spread so rapidly that only the walls were left standing. The beautiful interior was completely devastated. Over 100 firemen fought the blaze, but by the grace of God, there were no serious injuries. During the fire, the bells were heard tolling, due either to the fanning by flames or from the terrible force of water from the hoses. It seemed that they, too, were mourning the terrible loss. Finally, at 5:02 the next morning, the fire was officially declared out. But oftentimes, miracles come out of tragedy. Although the United States was in the midst of the Great Depression, due to the outpouring of sympathy from civic leaders, other churches, parishioners, and non-parishioners, funds were pledged and the church would be rebuilt. Since the walls stood, the church would have the same basic appearance, but would be less elaborate. The dome would not be replaced, and the organ was scaled down considerably. New rose windows would be purchased, as well as new sacramental windows behind the high altar. On the far north, the shrine to St. Aloysius would be replaced by one dedicated to St. Therese, the Little Flower. The far south shrine would remain dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Statues of St. Francis of Assisi and St. Anthony of Padua, a Franciscan contemporary of St. Francis, will be placed on pedestals between the high altar and the side altars. The large statue of St. Cecilia, which had been in the choir loft, would not be replaced. And by December 13, 1931, the church was ready for worship. On that day, it was dedicated by Bishop Joseph Chittard. During the construction of the original church, it was decided that a school should also be built. In 1872, Reverend Pius Collerer headed the building of the first school. But 15 years later, a new, larger school was needed. Under the leadership of Father Bonaventure Zoller, The cornerstone of a new school at the corner of 9th and Walnut Streets was laid on June 2, 1887. It was staffed by the Sisters of Providence, who were given living space within the school until a convent could be built several years later. St. Benedict School has educated and ministered to thousands of children over the decades. Day-to-day education, First Communions, confirmations, Christmas programs, and numerous sports teams enjoy the community of St. Benedict School. But through the years, more changes needed to be made. After Vatican II, under then-pastor Father Kent Biergens, the sanctuary gates were removed and the communion railing was partially dismantled. The dais was extended, the statue of the Sacred Heart was removed from its shrine and set in the Pietà Chapel so that the tabernacle could be placed in that area. St. Francis and St. Anthony statues were located 2 niches on either side of the main doors of the church. The Blessed Virgin Mary altar was also dismantled. Some rows of pews were removed, and the confessionals were extended to meet the new requirements of face-to-face reconciliation. A new altar was constructed. The choir was moved from the choir loft to the front of the church. New sound systems and carpeting were also installed. Father Joel Burgett oversaw many projects such as restoration of the bell towers, tuck pointing, stonework refurbishing, and a new St. Benedict statue to replace the original statue. The north, south, and west rose windows, the sacramental windows, and the low side windows were also restored from 2000 to 2002. Since 1998 alone, approximately $2 million have been spent on major repairs, updates, and improvements to the church campus, nearly 10 times the cost of the original church. During the fire, many of the windows survived, although some were damaged. The alcove windows, the 14 windows depicted in the alcoves in the Pietà Chapel, and the handicap restroom are from the original 1865 church. All of the major stained glass windows were restored or repaired during the pastorate of Father Joel Burgett. The tall windows on the north and south walls of the church survived the fire of 1930. Each is named after one of the Old Testament prophets, and each show a scene relating to the life of Christ. If you look closely at the middle window on the south side, you will see a little black mouse at the foot of St. Anne. The church mouse is a St. Benedict tradition. The original rose windows of St. Benedict Church were destroyed in the 1930 fire. They were replaced in 1931 and restored in 2001. The south window shows a portrait of Christ in the center, with the inner circle showing 4 people who knew Jesus directly: St. John the Baptist, Mary Magdalene, St. Stephen, and St. Joseph. The north window has Mary as its center. The inner circle has a definite theme. The people all relate to people in the child Jesus' life: Mary, Elizabeth, Zachary, and Simeon the prophet. The west window above the main entrance to the church is behind the choir loft. It appropriately has music as its theme. The center illustrates the Holy Spirit as a dove, looking down and inspiring the choir below. The inner circle pictures 4 people noted for their contributions to religious music: Saint Cecilia, David the Psalmist, Saint Gregory the Great, and Saint Ambrose. The sacramental windows are at the front of the church, above and behind the high altar. They represent the 7 sacraments. Now take a moment and reflect on the beauty of St. Benedict Church. For over 150 years, St. Benedict Church, the building, the artwork, the community has flourished. But there's much, much more to St. Benedict than bricks, mortar, marble, and glass. It's the people that make St. Benedict a community. Hi, my name is Tony Burke, and I'm the chairperson of the St. Benedict Parish Council. The St. Benedict Parish Council consists of 12 members who are elected to 3-year terms. Our goal is to assist the pastor of the parish in the day-to-day functions and the operations of the parish in order to make some of the decisions needed. We also act as a voice for the parishioners to make their wishes and concerns known to the priest to help make those decisions. We help to coordinate the projects and the activities of the various committees of the parish. And some of those committees are the Finance Committee, the Faith Formation Committee, Maintenance, Liturgy, Parish Life, Stewardship, Festival, Communications, Hospitality, and Social Ministry.
Hi, I'm Dan Weber. I'm the chairman of the Finance Committee. Our mission in our due diligence, we feel the Finance Committee is to work with our pastor, the office business manager, the Archdiocese, the Parish Councils, St. Ben's committees, and the city and state regulatory officials while performing the fiscal management of the business part of our parish assets and activities. We worked with the office business manager to prepare an annual operating budget with input from all the committees and submit it to the Parish Council for approval. We measure monthly our parish fiscal financial performance against that budget and our past performance. We manage our church portfolio of investments to maximize the interest returns while budgeting for current cash requirements and ensuring designated funds are used as requested. We work closely with the Maintenance Committee to prioritize and create a timeline for scheduled maintenance while budgeting for the ongoing upkeep, improvements, and repairs of our 150-plus-year-old parish campus. When available and appropriate, we apply for grants for specific larger capital assets or repair needs. We help to prepare the year-end financial report to update the parish on our current financial status.
Hi, I'm Trudy Butwin, and I'm chairperson for the Faith Formation Committee. Our mission is to support opportunities for the religious education and faith development of all parishioners of St. Benedict Parish, fostering lifelong spiritual growth in the Catholic faith. Faith Formation sponsors soup, salad luncheons with faith enrichment presentations after the 11 o'clock Mass, our parish missions, and we foster communication with the Deanery Center for resources to be used for Bible studies and Catholic video series with Jeff Cavins and Bishop Robert Barron, and for personal enrichment.
I'm Judy Hogan. I'm supervisor of the St. Benedict Soup Kitchen. The Soup Kitchen was started about 28 years ago. St. Pat's came to us and wanted us to serve a couple days a week because we were the inner city. And so we started that, and there were like 3 or 4 volunteers. They would make the soup and the sandwiches, and then we would feed them. Well, it got to be that we needed to open 3 days. So we tried 3 days, but eventually it went to 5 days. And St. Pat's has been fixing the food for us up until about 3 years ago, and we just got too big for them. So we make our own food. We are USDA. Of course, we're under the Board of Health. We have to abide by their rules and the USDA rules. And we serve around between 150 to 200 people. And that means we serve between 3,000 and 4,000 a month. So with the USDA, we do have a lot of variety of foods that we can use. We have pork, we have beef, we have turkey, we have ham. And so from those, we make menus that the people would like to eat. We do use soup once a day, once a week, and then we The other 4 days we cook a pretty big meal for them. We started out with 2 or 3 volunteers a day, but since we are cooking, we're up to about 10 to 12 volunteers a day.
Hi, I'm Dan Weber. I co-chair, along with Brian Kiefer, the St. Ben's Community Festival. One of the key attractions of our 2-day weekend is our entertainment lineup. And in the past, we've tried to mix local entertainment along with some out-of-town, like Nashville type quality country draw too. So it's really increased the participation. We averaged the last few years I've been involved from 2,500 to 3,000 people over the 2-day weekend. So we feel like the entertainments and the food are a big draw to that. Within the community atmosphere, we have provide some great music, silent auction, good food, children's games, church tours, Texas poker, beer garden, and raffles. One of our biggest fundraisers during the event is our capital prize raffle that we do over the 2-day period there also, and leading up to it, prior to it. We have over 200 volunteers from the community and our parish involved in the activities, the planning and the putting on the festival. A special thanks goes to our ISU football team, Terre Haute North football, Patriots, and Gibault Children's Services providing some younger legs to help with a major setup and teardown of the festival. Sycamore Engineering has donated their time for the last 23 years, putting up the electrical wiring needed and the tents for the festival weekend. The festival's success is due to the many businesses, corporate and individual sponsorships, and of our entertainment, kids' games, and the foods. Over 40 plus team captains, part of the 100 plus volunteers from the parish, their families, friends, and staff, all put in long hours to make it a successful event for the parish.
So thanks for watching. Hope it was enjoyable. I know we had a great deal of fun putting it together, and as you can see, there's been a lot of commitment over the course of the years to keep St. Ben's running, and that continues, both from parishioners and from people in the civic community. So we want to be thankful for all that, grateful to the good work that's been done, and also invite you to come and see what's going on, to participate, and we'll continue to build a future together.
Loving God, you have blessed our parish with generations of faithful people seeking to walk in the footsteps of your Son.
In humility. We give thanks for those who inspired, sacrificed, and led us to this moment in time.
In joy, we give thanks for the privilege of gathering in prayer, celebrating Eucharist, and serving you as a community of faith.
Grant us a gentle spirit to serve the people of God. Inspire us by your Spirit to bring the good news of salvation to the world by our words and deeds.
Give us the vision, faith, and courage to build a vibrant future for those who will carry the
legacy of St. Benedict Parish, remembering the past to growing our future.
We pray for the strength and wisdom to lead us forward.
Ever and ever, because I'm the future of St. Ben's.